So at least we can reuse the same stream while it's running. This time it doesn't die completely. Okay, I'm guessing you can hear me this time. Good God. Okay. Let's just wait for people to get connected again. 1 second. It's flaky. Which... I don't know who's going to be more tired of this, you or me. Okay, so I got a green box down here below my shoulder. Let's see how long that lasts. I had to switch back to my home Wi-Fi because apparently the latency on the phone hotspot is not good enough, apparently. It worked for a minute and then it stopped. Yeah, how many recordings are you going to have to watch this weekend, Pavel? That's the question. Thank you, everyone who's been sticking with me through this. I don't know. This is like the worst day of streaming I've ever had. And it's a fun topic, too. So it's terrible that YouTube and my internet is just, you know, destroying everything. Oh, God. Okay, let's get back to it. How about that? Let's see if any of this is going to work. Okay, why are we having a problem here? Void function transient defined prefix. I guess I probably need to require transient at this point because I had to restart Emacs already. Okay, we're good there. So we're back to where we were before hell broke loose. So what I was saying before, whenever it got cut off the last time, is that for the build command, we need to have a couple of different arguments we want to customize. So let me take a look at how we might do that. I think there's a way to do like sub transients. So like group 1 transient toys wave, blah, 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 blah. Yes. Gun, you're right. I mean, it is kind of, you know, fitting for the name of the stream today that the stream keeps dying. Definitely doesn't make me feel any better. Okay, so here's some nice little arguments. Maybe we want to grab this. Interesting. How does that work? Okay, let me just drop that in somewhere. I'm going to paste this in, but I also need to create another command. We're just going to sketch this out and see if it works. Because that's the way I like to do it. We're going to put this right here. Okay, that's all good. Come on, delete it. Okay, so I think we need a little bit more work than that, don't we? Okay, so build command arguments, mesh build command. Once again. It's going in and out, folks. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, I'm just gonna keep talking and the internet will do whatever it wants. Cool, so I'm gonna drop this in here, mesh build command, and see what it does. Obviously it doesn't exist yet. Sequence P. Why would it need to be a sequence? Mesh build command. I think I must have done something wrong here. Oh boy. My streaming career is going to be cut short if this internet problem doesn't get fixed soon. I think this is what I'm... Well, maybe not what I'm doing wrong. Hold on. Arguments. Commands. Yeah, it's something like solar flares, for sure. Really pissing me off, gotta say. Okay, so... What did I miss? Something's wrong. Oh, okay, are you happy now? Why are you unhappy? Everything I see before... Is this a macro? It must be a macro. Whatever, dude. Okay, we're gonna run this command. I'm gonna press B. Cool, so it does do something. -S. Okay, I like that. Marduk says, thoughts on Fennel plus NVim. You would have to ask Gavin on that one, because I haven't used it. But Fennel's kind of cool. It's basically a Clojure-like Lisp transpiled language for Lua. But I have not used it at all. I've admired it from afar, but I haven't really used it. All right. I double check my little streaming quality thing every now and then just to make sure things are okay. In fact, let me turn on the stream health viewer. Okay, whatever. So, back to it. Please go away. Quit. What's going to make you decide to stop doing this? So you start a transient and then it... Wow, okay, I like that a little bit. And then it doesn't want to go away, apparently. So one thing I need to check out is how you can specify what the arguments are. Let me check if there's a place to specify them. Value equals default, value toggle. Is this like the defaults? I see. Okay, cool. I like that. And short args, arguments, and switch macros. Oh, choices. Okay, so choices can be set for an argument. Property API and transient define argument are equivalent for configuring choices. You can either hard code or generate choices. I want to generate choices for sure. So I must be able to give a function to choices so that it can give me those values back. Okay, so ooh, there's a little bit more to it than I thought. Okay, I just need a little function here. Let me see. So I'm going to put in transient mesh build. I don't really like this. Let's do this. Mesh build command. Target choices. Complete me, filter P, completion type. Whatever the user has typed so far. Okay. Filter P, function you should use is to filter candidates. I would prefer if I didn't have to put any of that in myself, but okay. I'm just going to return a list. So debug and release. This is something that I would actually source from the build command itself. I would just call into it and say, hey, what are the targets for this particular project? And that should make it work. Let's see. Okay. And for, where does that go? Define prefix, transient toys animals. Okay, so there's a little bit more detail you can put in here. So choices would be for, let's say, T would be target. What about a value that needs to be passed directly? We'll try it. Let's see. Choices. Arian says, why to use Emacs if I get all things inside my terminal? You might like Vim then. Anders, yeah, you're not too late. We just keep having stream issues where it does not stay up, which is very annoying in my opinion. Okay, so choices. We're gonna put in the mesh build command -- target choices, and see if that works. Okay, we're gonna run both these. Should probably put this mesh run command behind a something or other. T is not giving me anything. A animal equals. Should I just do this? Target equals value equals oh, interesting. Okay, this is a little bit more elaborate. I like that. Hey, Fed. Arguments. So you can define an argument. Okay, that's much better. How about this? I'm going to put this right here. Mesh build command. Oh, come on, Lispy. Target argument. Description, build target. Key T. I don't know what the transient switches thing is. Hey, Porf. Let's see. So argument format, we don't really need that because we just want the string itself. So I'm going to try this. Debug, release. Execute that. And then in the build command here, I'm going to put in mesh build command target argument. I don't know if it's necessary to do that, but you know, we're just trying things out. What don't you like? Oh, it still needs to be inside of a list, apparently. Okay. Mesh build command. Unbound slot transient switches. Did I put something wrong? Transient switches, unbound slot? Transient, what? Transient switches. Is it because this is a symbol? Yeah, maybe. Oh God. Unbound slot transient switches. Oh, it wants that regular expression thing. That's really stupid. Argument, regexp. I shouldn't say stupid, it's annoying. They're forcing me to put this information when I feel it, I shouldn't have to. So here we go. Format is S. Okay, so don't really like that. What's the Emacs regex word syntax? Yeah, it's back. Character with a word. Max character was not within a word. What about? This is just like a dot star because I don't care. I want it to be everything. Dot star. Are you happy with that? Please. A T. Okay. So that seems to have worked. I don't really like the way it looks, but maybe there's something I can do about that. Let me check on the Magit interface because there's some places where they do things like this that I kind of like. So like a fetch. Okay, so it does sort of look like that where it has true, false, default is false. Yeah. Cool. So I can do that, the same thing for config as well. So I can say config argument. This one actually will have a dash dash config space and then the string. And then we could say, no, I did the wrong thing. This is debugging release. The other one is going to be like, let's say clean test. Huh. Thinking for a second. Clean test and main, I guess you could say. Dash colon alpha. Okay, yeah. That could work too. So we're gonna put in config argument, target argument. I'm gonna do both these real quick. And we could take these out. Okay, and then build command. All right, so build target, I can fix that. Let's go back right here. -C. And if I run build command again, -C, -C, okay. Config debug, config release, T will switch which target you're running. I don't like the parenthesis around the name. I don't know why it shows up like that, but it doesn't for something else that I saw. Okay. Transient toys message, controlling visibility. One thing I could do is generate the arguments. I wonder if it would let me. Well, no, I actually don't want to do that. So if the thing about targets in the, well, targets and configs, frankly, is that both of these are things that are defined in a project file. So if I were to go show you what a project file looks like, yeah, that one's fine. Oh, project.msc, scheme mode. I don't have configs in here yet because this is an older version of the file, but I do have targets like deps and main, etc. So these come from the file itself, so they're not known ahead of time. Fade says the CLOS port to the Emacs list is because of the joke old McCarthy had a form. Yeah. Okay, so far it's not looking as nice as I would like for it to, but it could be pretty useful. So if I had just had a command or a key binding build bound to mesh build command, I could pop this up. Now, I need a way to launch the build, so maybe I could just press B, potentially. So if I had another argument here for, whoops, B for build. This needs to be, let's see, args, sure. And then yeah. Control Q, yes, there we go. Up. And then actions, build. Now we're not gonna run build command again because we get into a loop here, but I wonder how, okay, so what happens whenever you actually want to run something then? Somebody has to take the output command to run, I think. Early completion, errata, controlling visibility. Okay, so how do you get the command? Reading arguments into commands. So far we focused on setting arguments, now we put the two together. Might be called from another function, might be called by the user. Transient does not change this model. When a suffix command is called, it has to go find the arguments, the prefix command that called it. Each transient has a value. We can get this as a list of strings or for any prefix by calling transient args. Okay. Fade says I was struck by myself over on Twitch. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Apparently I was misplaced in blaming Restream for this. It was just my internet provider not being reliable. They probably don't like the fact that I'm streaming 3 times per week. Okay, so back to this. Interactive list, let's see. Message args. Transient args, transient current command. I think if I just call out to a function, it should be enough. Build command execute. So what if I just define a function called that? Defun mesh build command dash execute and make it interactive. And it says I should look at the transient args transient current command. Let's copy that. I'll just say message s, and we'll see what comes out of that. Okay, then mesh build command B. Nothing. Interesting. Concat propertize current args. Show current infix args. Transient T. Be sure you're using later than... Okay. Call the function manually from eLisp in order to pass your own arguments, and it will skip trying to get the arguments from this user. I see. Prefix and suffix. So, all right, let me make sure I'm understanding what's happening here. Suffix. Now I got to go back to the conceptual docs at the top because obviously I've missed something. Okay. Now that starts to make more sense. The most basic user flow looks like this. A prefix is the command you invoke first, such as Magit dispatch. A suffix is a bound command displayed in the UI, such as Magit stage. Then you can have sub prefixes, which is sort of what we're doing now with the build command. Uh-oh. Starting to lose data again. Prefixes display the pop-up UI. Suffixes are bound within a prefix. Infixes are specialized suffix with easy support in the API for storing state. A suffix may be a new prefix, which in this case, a transient is nested. I think YouTube's lying to me. Trying to understand where I get the output from, because really this is not useful at all if I can't get the command parameters. Layouts, blah blah blah. Infix, setting up arguments. Okay. Nah, it's all the same. All the same. I mean, I guess it is sort of encoding it, but I think it's the internet quality that's the problem here. Which I have not had a problem for months until the last 2 weeks, I think. Okay, so arguments and switch macros. Hey, Mjolnir. Another new package from Minad. That's nice. Let's see. Choices, mutually exclusive switches, don't care, incompatible switches, custom readers, custom scopes. Lisp variables, okay. Come on now, give me, how can I get the output out of this thing? Reading arguments to commands. So we're back where we started. So it has to be a suffix then, maybe? Show current infix args. It's a suffix that's just defined. Where is this defined? Message args. Actions. Okay. That seems to be the thing here. So actions and arguments is similar to what I'm doing right now. And I have to have a suffix that I've defined. Define suffix. What have I been doing in the code so far? I have not defined a suffix. Okay, so that makes sense. Let's copy this. And we're going to replace the command execute. So then it's going to be mesh build command. Yeah. Run build. No, not run. Execute. Yeah, okay. So then transient T. I don't know why that has to be transient T. Build. Or execute build. I don't know. Who knows? B. Now, I think I can just put that straight up in the actions list, right? Okay, so now instead of this stuff that I put here before, I could put mesh build command execute build and run that. I also need to run this, but I'm not crazy about... Okay, fine. We'll run it that way. Okay, build command B. Current args nil, -c, t. Cool. Config, debug, clean. Okay. So that actually does put us closer to where we want to be. How can you control the ordering? I mean, this ordering is okay, but I kind of want the target name to come first in the command. Order. Overridden order, modify or eliminate some children from your display. No, no way to do that. Okay. I mean, I guess I would have to just, you know, do it this way in theory. And then run the command again. T-C, B, clean, config. Yeah, okay, that works. Probably I would just take -C off. Or the dash off the C. I mean, for config, you just want to press C to change the config. Config. Whoa, what just happened? That was weird. Config. Okay, so let's update those two. Run build command again. Build target configuration, so you can just sort of select which one you want. Press C, B. Now it doesn't close it, which is interesting. I wonder if that's because I have that transient T right there. Whoops. All right, let's do that. Run it one more time. T, C, B. Okay, so that does close it. That's good. That's sort of what we want. Now, the next thing... There's a couple things. I wanted to save the target and configuration because it would be nice if I could run it again and it remembered the previous settings. Remember. Store. Shared history for values. Don't really care about that. It's not a huge thing. Probably what I would do is just rerun the last command. And then if I wanted to do it again, I would just run the build command thing. Execute build. One thing I would also do here probably is, whoops. Probably instead of having run here, I would just delete that. And then have another command for running the build. So okay, oops, wow, what just happened? Yeah, because it's basically the same thing. Execute run R run project. Okay, so build project and run project. How about that? Because either you just want to build it or you want to actually tell it to run itself. So we have R, and then we're going to put that here in the actions list. Maybe I want to put them next to each other too, to be a little bit cleaner. So let's do this right here. We'll run everything. Oh, I want to say execute build twice, because I told it twice. Cool. Run. All right, so how about we change the names a little bit to build project, run project, just to be consistent with what the descriptions say. So here we'll change this to run project. Change this to build project. Run both of those, then run this, then try it again. Okay, so arguments and actions. That's looking pretty good. So I can press T to choose a target, and then C for configuration, and then press R for run. And then it knows it's supposed to run, so I could sort of, you know, magic up the actual command line for this. So is there a, I know there must be, string join. Where does that come from? Does it come from S? No, okay, cool, it's sub or X. So I could do concat string join args space. We'll take that out. And then we'll also say mesh build space. I'll answer your question in just a moment, Alejandro. This is a good question. All right. I think I broke it. Sometimes Lispy does the right thing, sometimes it doesn't. Oh, and this needs to be run. Okay. There we go. Now if I run build command and press B, now I need to set some defaults somehow in these. I don't know how to do that yet. So TCR, mesh run clean config debug. I like that. Seems good. So Alejandro asks, so what is to be understood about mesh? Is it a language, an interpreter, a compiler, or a build tool? It is all of those things. But you know, there's the mesh language, which is basically just a language derived from Scheme. And then the compiler itself is a library that you can pull into a C program to then load up mesh files and modules for execution. And then the mesh command line interface, which is a separate project, at least for now, pulls in the compiler library to provide a command line interface for running the compiler. And it also includes the mesh build tool, which allows you to describe a project much like this, and which can build C code and mesh code together. But it's basically shelling out the GCC for the C code and then creating object files and then linking everything up. So I've basically made my own makefile format, essentially. So that's kind of why I'm putting together an interface for it in Emacs so I can launch it very easily. All right, so that's looking pretty good. It's doing what I expected to do. I mean, technically speaking, mesh build does not need to be you don't need to specify a target because there's a concept of default targets and default configs. So just running mesh build inside of a project folder would be enough to run it. Gun says mesh is the Emacs among programming languages. Well, it is definitely taking inspiration from Emacs in some ways, but you know, it's meant to be hackable. Scheme is also hackable, obviously, but Scheme, you know, has its own constraints. So I'm trying to liberate myself from constraints, but also introduce my own that I find to be useful. We'll talk about mesh more in the future whenever I have it a little bit more baked. Okay, so we could actually try to run the command now. It won't do much. And some other thoughts on logic. So if you run... Gavin says, Common Lisp, am I a joke to you? Well, I don't really like Common Lisp that much, to be honest. I know that's not going to make Gavin or Fade very happy. I'm more of a Scheme fan, for sure. I like Scheme a lot. I think it's great. Which is why Mesh is basically Scheme, but I wanted to do it myself. So let's think. If I were to run a mesh run command, I don't need to call anything to get stuff yet. So we can assume there's a current project. Richard Davis says poor Common Lisp. But I mean, I'm not saying Common Lisp has anything wrong with it. In fact, you know, SBCL is pretty awesome in terms of what features it provides. I just don't like the language per se. I'm sorry, I'm making people frown. Anders says, I'm old enough to like Common Lisp. I liked Common Lisp quite a lot whenever I read like On Lisp and ANSI Common Lisp and, you know, Practical Common Lisp back in college. But I think Scheme just sort of makes a little bit more sense to me as a language. Of course, I'm talking about Scheme in terms of its execution model and the fact that it's a single namespace Lisp and not, you know, like one with separate namespaces for everything. Gun says Common Lisp is great for games. Maybe, I don't know, but I'm gonna make Mesh really good for games too. Let's see. So to know that I'm in a project, I guess I don't need to. I mean, I can just sort of make assumptions that I'm in a project until a command needs to be run. So if I press B and it doesn't have a project.msc file anywhere nearby, I could probably throw an error of some sort. Did I not take run out of that list? Yeah, I took it out. I just haven't re-executed this again. Okay, so, oh, I even had 2 entries for R, which it didn't tell me about. So build, deps, install, REPL. I would probably put REPL above install because install is going to be a less common thing. Install is like basically install the output of this project somewhere on your file system, which is not a super common operation, I would think. Maybe just for me. Deps is going to be another one that will have some subcommands because we're going to want to install new versions of dependencies. But it's also not super interesting right now. So really just the build commands are the ones that were the most interesting to do at the moment. So I probably want to take this out of here. Just I don't want it to load automatically whenever I run this file. Target choices, I think we got rid of that, didn't we? Okay. So at the moment, Mesh Build does not have a way to give you the list of targets, but maybe if I can think about adding that really quickly, that would be kind of interesting to see. So let's take a look at the build. No. Main. Where did it go? Oh, because we had to restart the stream. I had to restart Emacs even. Let's see. Modules. Main.msc. Scheme mode. All right, so another command that will be needed here, but probably hidden, but I'll deal with that another time, is some way to gather information about the project. So you need to launch the mesh CLI command to get details in a Lisp format so that it can easily be read into a maybe like an A-list or something in Emacs. So there's going to be good integration with Emacs with this because, you know, the tool will be able to spit out S expressions that are compatible with Emacs, so Emacs can just read them in directly and then you can process them. That's the reason why I don't use #t and #f for true and false in this language. I use t and nil because I want to make it a little bit more compatible with Emacs Lisp. So I need another command. Probably there's a way that I could just hide it, but I don't care about that right now. So if I were to make another command for this, let's see, details or mesh project. How about that? So I can say gathers. Honestly, not a terrible thing. You can just run mesh project and it could print something out for you. All right, so in this case, I'll add a function called project command. Let's put it right here. Define project command. And it needs to, let's see, build command is in modules mesh build. And if I look at that really quickly, scheme mode. So I load the project. I need another function for this, which is something I've actually been thinking about. Like a load project function. So project load, how about that? Process arguments. Project path. Okay, and then I'll get rid of that part. Project file. Yeah, we'll leave that for now. Target name, we don't need target name, so this let may be completely unneeded for now. So let's delete that. Process arguments. Resolve the project file path. Yeah, we don't need that either. So resolve the project file path. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Maybe we need this. So let project file project path. I know it's terrible, but I just want to make sure that we're going to be able to run this. It looks like I already have a project path variable here in this sublet. That's fine. Load file, project file, if not target name. That I don't care about. Excuse me. Just need to get the details of the project. Okay. So that would pull in the project file and potentially return project details, load file, project file. So there's some stuff in here that we need to export. Let's check out CLI/project. There's fields here that we want. Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. So targets. Can I press S, please? Thank you. Configs. Dependencies, inputs, output, target, configs. See you, Gun. Okay, so current project nil. Yeah, so we need to do that. Project, current project, make project. We're not going to pass in arguments for the other things yet. Maybe we will. We need to set empty lists. But we don't have the ability to set fields in records yet. That's going to make this a little bit more difficult. So what I'm trying to do basically is gather the information that I can use to pull out of the program and use to display in that transient what the targets are, what the configs are for this current project. Probably won't make enough progress on it before the end of the stream. Just trying to see if we can make some progress. Yeah, honestly, what I could do is fake it. Probably the best way to get something working in the short term. So